Hello, I'm General Waffle. This is the Breakfast Brigade, and this is a Valla quick match video. Now, Valla holds a very special place in my heart, not just because she wields twin crossbows that she never reloads for some reason. No, it is because she is the very first hero I ever got to master. That's right. For all my Johanna love, I got Valla there first.
10 seconds.
That's right. She used to be a lot more overpowered. She hasn't changed too much, she just kind of lost battle momentum. But she has a lot of different builds. The build I'm going in today is my favorite build. It's also the old school build. It's the auto attack focused build. Basically, you pick up talents that affect your auto attacks, and then that's it. You just pick up talents that affect your auto attacks. Other builds mostly focus on something like doing a lot of damage with your Hungering Arrow or doing a lot of damage with your multi-shot. This build just focuses on you auto-attacking. Early game, this build is pretty crap. However, as the game goes on, it will become much better. Now, the lane I'm facing is actually pretty horrifying and annoying, because you got Chen and Murky. Chen, at this stage in the game, is kind of a brick wall for me alone. And I can't really break through his shields too well. And he can keep harassing me. Murky took block, so he blocks my auto attacks. This is a problem. However, this problem will be mitigated. I chose this build because I felt like I'd be safe in doing so. They have Arthas and Chen, and I feel like a double tank like that would be really advantageous for me to take advantage of auto attacks. I will pick up Giant Killer later on. Now here, I'm just trying to do whatever I can to stop Murky's pufferfish, but also to lure Chen into the towers. Abathur's helping out, and without Abathur I would have been pushed out by now, or at least have to play a lot more conservatively than I have been. Either way, Murky is going to constantly evade me because of that block. Goes down right there, and now I'm just kind of attacking Chen, who again is a brick wall of he doesn't give a fuck. Recalling for the health. That's all there is. Abathur's still there, he can soak that XP, and I'll make my way back down there. I do have the Money Pig. I love the Money Pig mount, the Battle Boar. Either way, I still pick up the Vampiric Assault. This is how you get your survivability as Valla with this build. Other builds kind of focus on you not needing to be as safe because they're safe in and of themselves. This build, you need to stand and auto attack things. And every time you auto attack, you'll get a little bit of your health back. You're not really rely on your abilities to do damage, they're more like extra damage, and you'll see as the game progresses how I use them to finish off people, instead of just kind of using them whenever I need to, whenever I want to. There I actually lured Chen into the towers, but the towers were out of ammo and they did nothing. Now, I considered going up there, but then we had Nova die and Murky's still mid. So I figured it'd be better just to go bottom and defend against Chen and Murky. Their Murky's nowhere to be seen, but Chen is still down here. And I don't feel like with my help we could even get that. I think it's just much better to stay down here and harass Chen. Now, if you're going to play Valla, you're going to learn how to actually do attack moves. You're going to learn how to stutter step. Or block, as they say in Dota. But I didn't come from Dota, I came from League of Legends. So we call it stutter stepping. Basically what this means is you need to make sure that every time that you auto attack, you're taking a step in between, because your auto attack has a reset timer with your attack speed, however many auto attacks per second. Tychus makes this very hard, and he has such a fast attack speed, it's so hard to stutter step, but Valla's attack speed is not that high. It's pretty high, especially when you talent for it like I have, but you really want to focus on being able to keep moving. Melee aggressors will not be able to chase you nearly as well, and you'll be able to keep up with ranged people. If people are running away, you can actually keep up with them. Here we're just kind of harassing them away from this tribute. Our team is not the greatest at team fighting, especially in the early game. I mean, the build I'm going for doesn't really take into effect until later on, like level 13. Like here, I just kind of get caught out and die. I don't have a lot of escapes. I have a tumble. But the tumble does not save you nearly as well as it used to. We got Murky, but Murky is more of a late game. Early game, he's an annoyance. Late game, he can actually kill people, and it's a problem for the enemy. But we haven't reached that point. Here I go bottom. Our Murky is just kind of doing whatever. I alert the team that the next tribute is bottom left. The tributes do follow a certain order, where the first one is always in the middle, and it can be top or bottom. The second one is to left or right, and it could be either top or bottom. And the third one depends on what the other two were. If there's two on the bottom, and one of them was on the bottom left, then the next one is going to be on the top right. This way both teams can actually have a chance of having the advantage on their team. But for right now, I'm just kind of pushing. I'm making sure that Murky dies instead of him clearing the lane. Because they're almost out of ammo, so it's not so much of a big deal. I will mention that I did pick up that Syrian attacks, so I can actually do a lot more damage with my auto attacks for the cost of my mana. My mana, I'm not too worried about my abilities doing damage as I am worried about my auto attacks doing damage. It's an auto attack focused build. And because it's an auto attack focused build, I chose the stun. A lot of builds, no matter when you're playing, have strafe. Strafe is a really strong ability. It does AoE damage. It does a lot of single target damage. It's a really good ability overall. However, when you're strafing, no matter how ridiculously funny it looks, it stops you from auto attacking. And when most of your damage comes from your auto attacks, you want to make sure that you can keep doing it. Also, we don't really have much of a tank on our team. We don't really have a lot of crowd control. So adding that little extra bit of crowd control with the Vengeful Spirits is really good. Those Shadow Beasts coming down will continually do stuns in the area, and by continually I mean twice, unless you spec for more. Here Nova, I don't know what she was waiting for, but she just had to auto attack her. So basically, if I chose Strafe, I would be missing some damage. And I don't want to miss damage. Here I'm a little bit out of position. Chen picking up that really obnoxious ultimate. It's not nearly as obnoxious as it used to be, but still it's annoying. Arthas getting a little bit too fresh. End up taking him down. We are cursed right now, but the enemy team has not done much with it. And now I pick up the most important ability, especially in this match, of Giant Killer. Giant Killer does percentage-based damage per auto attack, judging on the maximum health of the hero you're hitting. Considering that they have two tanks, it is really, really important that I get that. It will do a lot of damage to their team. Jaina, it's not so much of a big deal. Murky, basically do nothing. But someone like Chen or Arthas, it'll just rip them to pieces. And that's what I'm building for. There I was able to take down Jaina with some crowd control and some damage. Valla has a lot of damage. It's like all she does. In fact, I would say that Valla is the quintessential character to really link someone from a game like League of Legends or Dota to Heroes, because her mechanics are so familiar. She's an auto. There's not very many auto attack based ranged assassins. In fact, I would go as far as to say that she's the only one that's effective at it. And in this sense, a lot of her movesets are a lot like Vayne, who was modeled after the Demon Hunter originally, where she has a tumble and then she has some damage. So I'd say if you were really looking for a hero to play, if you didn't know who to start with and you came from one of those games, especially if you're an AD carry main, start with Valla. She's so good at it. By the way, I shot that Hungering Arrow kind of hoping that it would bounce. Here, Chen cannot outdamage the amount of damage I'm doing. Cannot outshield it anyway. I just ripped through him with those Syrian attacks and that giant killer. He takes out Murky, but who cares? Murky will return. And I'm just kind of waiting around to get topped off. Valla, not a lot of health. Need to stay careful. And because of that, tumble. Yeah, a lot of builds have and kind of still do. Poor Arthas, he didn't have a chance there. A lot of builds, and they still do, use the blood for blood. Right there, I just want to really quickly. Murky tried to ult me with his Octograb, but I tumbled at the same time, or slightly before he used it, so it canceled it. Your roll can cancel a lot of things. It used to be able to cancel everything. If you ever play Dark Souls, this is basically your roll evade, because it just, nothing mattered to you. It was actually really funny. Getting back to what I was saying about Blood for Blood, though, it's not as good as it used to be. It does less damage. It doesn't have a slow. That's all there really is to it. It doesn't matter that it heals you more. Like, I'm not worried about somebody attritioning me down. I'm worried about getting bursted. I'm really worried about someone like Murky coming in and just killing me. That's it. Like, if there's a trade going on, I'll probably win it. I'll probably be able to position around it, and it's not a problem. That's why it's so good to have a second escape button. Now here, I kind of forsake everything. I thought that that was going to be the correct way to get away, and I ended up letting Jaina live. I could have traded 1-for-1 with her and rolled towards her, and I would have killed her 100% of the time. But I rolled away because I thought I could escape, but Chen was right there to stop me. Their entire team has kind of been trying to stop me. Their Valla has been going for a little bit of a different build, of a Hungering Arrow type build. I keep checking the stat screen in this game because Valla's a fairly reactive hero. And a lot of things that Valla does requires you to build for them. If they have a lot of tanks, you need to build for that. If they have a lot of squishies, you need to build for that. If they have a lot of damage, you need to build for it. There's very little that Valla is just granted. The only thing that she's really granted is damage. She does a lot of damage. You can't take that away from her. You don't need to build for it, but you need to build how you're going to do the damage. Are you going to do it with your Hungering Arrow, your multi-shot, or your auto attacks? And you need to figure out how you're going to make that happen. A lot of abilities, like Murky's ability, his Octograb, is really important to know that he has. Him having the Octograb really does mean that I need to play in a way that is very different. I need to make sure I'm never near Murky, and that Murky can't get near me. And that's what I gotta do, and that's why I keep checking that. There, Jaina just barely missed me thanks to that second tumble. Even without the ability to reset all your cooldowns. It's so good. It's so good to have 2 tumbles. Normally it wasn't a big deal, because you would just kind of tumble out of everything. And then you would reset it, you tumble again. Now here, this is a little trick. Since my hatred, my passive, affects my auto attacks, I make sure I wait to activate my Syrian attacks till I have at least 7 stacks of hatred. That way I can get the full benefit out of my auto attacks, my Syrian attacks. It's a short enough cooldown for it not to matter too much, but just getting the value out of it is really important. So now they're only 1 tribute away from leveling for getting the, what do you call it, curse. Here I just kind of go in with my ultimate. It didn't really accomplish anything. Valla ends up falling to Nova. And now I'm in a tricky spot because Chen is all over me. I need to just get out of here. However, because I'm ranged and I have abilities, I can actually still contribute. The tribute was picked up by the enemy team. We didn't get boss, but we distracted them from killing our boss, which is really important. Tyrael will fall. He is the martyr. It happens. What are you gonna do? Cry about it? I didn't cry about it. You know why I didn't cry about it though? Our boss is ravaging their base. So our curse did nothing. They cleared like 2 waves. Here I just kind of go in with Nova and just take these down pretty fast. My self-sustain can keep me up. And we just get some siege camps. This is how ineffective their curses are. I'm just getting camps. Murky... Later on he says that he's drunk, but he's just kind of being an ass. I consider saying something, but I don't. Sometimes better just to ignore people rather than try to give them fuel or try to fix the situation.
My curse subsides.
Either way, we still have the advantage because we have the space that we have. Here though, I get octo grabbed. And this is just what I was talking about earlier, where you're so squishy and I need to make sure that Murky isn't around me, that Murky can't do that to me. And just like he did, because I'll just pop like a balloon. Now Murky's fighting the good fight against Chen. Our Murky ended up taking the fairly standard bubble build, while their Murky went for more of an all-in pufferfish build. The one thing that our Murky did, though, that I completely don't agree with is that he took Rewind. I'm checking that right now. Alright, he didn't take Rewind, he took Blink. Sorry. I don't know what kind of Murky takes Blink. Like, you have your bubble. You don't need Blink. Either way, maybe just trying something new out. I can get behind that. Their Murky, however, doesn't actually have any sort of escape, any sort of healing or good escapes. So once he takes damage, he takes damage. This is a great example of this build in action. You can just see how fast you melt things. I got a lot of people attacking that, but the damage that you can put out is just phenomenal. Here, Jaina and Shen took Blink, and I'm just paying attention to that. Because sometimes you'll roll towards someone and all in on them, and then they'll blink away, and then you'll be in a horrible position. So it's always important to know when people have escapes, specifically for you. Here, I'm just auto-attacking down Arthas. He melts pretty goddamn fast for a tank. Jaina ends up going down to the power of the entire team, and now Arthas has no more sustain. And I'm just kind of walking around, making sure I don't die. Chen going into that ultimate. He's pushed pretty thin. and ends up changing right back, and he goes right down. The entire team was on him. There's not much he could do. Here, I want to take the Mercs, but the team wants to take just straight up push, and they only have Valla and Murky. So I just go with the team, because even though I don't feel like this is the right decision, it's the decision that the team is doing. And that's more important usually, is just stick with the team, especially when you're really squishy. Now here our Murky is going to be kind of a jackass. And he will basically dumb himself to death. If you notice his egg placement right now, he is doing the super beam. And here it goes. Right there. Good job, Murky. I mean, there's nothing I can do to help him. He just dies. This is the part where you quote Bane from Batman. Yeah, was getting caught part of your plan, Murky? Apparently it was. He seems pretty happy with himself. Yeah. Here, I'm not really trying too hard to defend this. I'm just making sure that they don't take this. Their Demon Hunter gets way too close to me, and I just unload the power of the auto attacks and then get to safety.
I hope you can.
Yeah. No matter what Valla build you're gonna do, mana is always gonna be an issue. Whether it's because of Syrian attacks, your multi-shot, or your Hungry Arrow. You just need to accept that. Here my Syrian attacks do a fairly good amount of damage, but they soak up like all my mana. So I can't really rely too much on my Hungry Arrow and my multi-shot, because they would just take up way too much. I'd also like to point out by this time, we've not had a single tribute. Or a single curse. And the enemy team has had 2. So everything that we've done has just been on our merit. I end up having to use my vault to get away from that golem because he got aggroed and tried to root me, and I ended up missing a kill on Shen, and I'm very sad about it. I'd like you not to bring it up. It's kind of rude. Anyway, there's nothing for me to really do. I really want this boss, and I'm asking Abathur for help. He did take that ability to give me more attack speed, so I'm just really hoping that he helps me out. And he does! Activate Syrian attacks at 10 stacks to make sure that I can actually get the full value out of it. And as you can see, I have no mana, but my health was pretty damn good throughout that. Syrian attacks just eat up your entire mana bar. And you need to realize that if you want to play this build, this sort of auto attack focused build, that you can't just be throwing out vaults and multi-shots and Hungry Arrows, and you need to use your mana very conservatively. Hungry Arrow and multi-shot are more for the burst that you need to finish someone. It's a surprise. A lot of people really kind of just think Valla right now is all about that burst damage, all about that Hungry Arrow or the multi-shot, and statistically they'd be right. However, the auto attack type builds are actually very good still. There Murky tried to, I know what he was trying to do, he was trying to hit me with that slime and ult me, and I would have died 100% of the time. So I tumbled right out of there. I said before that they cursed us twice. This is their second curse. I'm basically a liar. And we have a golem just ravaging their base. It's always good to see the enemy core going down during a curse. Now here, these are 2 warriors. They're 2 tanks. And I just got melted. This is what happens when you get out of position. If you get out of position, you're gonna die. You're gonna die painfully, horribly. It won't be pretty. But it happened. I can't make it unhappen. Chen just getting out of there with his bullshit ultimate. I've always hated that Chen ultimate. It's annoying. Like, if it was better, like if Chen was better, I'd be more annoyed. He's kind of bugged right now, so his Q doesn't work like it should. Oh. Just looking at the stats, you can see my hero damage is phenomenal. And that's what you do as an assassin, you do hero damage. It's always good to have the highest, especially when you're going for a non-meta build. I like this build. It's refreshing. Anyway. I just really like it. I like the ability to just auto-attack someone down and have that extra burst when you need it. I just go and collect that little health globe. There's no reason to. Right now, no team has a number advantage, but they're missing Arthas, which is a big deal. I just kind of come in and make sure that Jaina dies. A horrible, painful death that she deserves. Murky ulted me, but it doesn't lead to anything. He didn't combo it. And now I'm just on Chen, trying to sustain off of him. And I know I have more damage than he does, so he goes down. Their Murky's already back, and I'm just doing everything I can to get away from everyone. But Arthas comes in for that Mortal Coil and takes me down. Death Coil, I believe. Murky exclaiming how drunk he is. Oh yeah, I don't even know. Anyway, if you haven't guessed, this is going to be a victory. And why is it going to be a victory? It's because I'm the greatest player in the world. And Abathur is going to win it for me. Yeah, look at him go. Got his monstrosity. Core's at 25%. Yeah. As you can see, it was 100% all me that just destroyed that core. Thanks, Abathur, for making that clear. Victory for the home team. Alright, let's check those stats real quick. Check those stats. 100,000 hero damage. Nova got 81,000, it's a lot. Still, pretty effective build. Still good. That's all for this day. Till next time.